Hi, everybody. It's Russ and Grizzly here, and another show. How are you doing, Grizzly?
Doing good. Thank you, kind sir.
Good to hear it. And I've been about and I've been watching some of the stuff that's been happening on your show. And I think everybody is sort of like amazed. You know what I mean? Sort of
Right.
like those photographs.
Yeah, it's pretty strange. I know that. I don't know what it is, but it's something.
Yeah, well, I was just saying that there's this big misconception. I think we said it sort of like before. I know that I'm reading a lot saying that there's a lot of, more reports now. Sort of like there's more like UFO reports and what have you. And I was talking to somebody and I was saying, look, I spoke to somebody who said they had thousands of reports. And I said, well, I haven't got thousands of reports, but I've got a hell of a lot over the years, And they were saying, we're coming up and we're filming, sort of like, can we have a look and see? Oh, no, we can't do that because everything, right, yeah, all the reports have been deleted. And I said, well, how do you mean? And he said they've been deleted by, they're all emails and what have you.
Huh.
And I thought, that's strange, is that? Because I think I've showed you off air, but I've got to be careful what I do. But we've got all these box files. Oh, dear. Got all these box files full of UFO reports, yeah?
Right.
And so we go back. Oh, flipping heck. We go back before 1990s, which are what you call old reports, what people have sent us, that they can remember. Now, what we used to do was, if we went out, we used to take a report form with us and get the person to fill a report for me, right? So, they'd sit down and we'd talk to them about the UFO report or UFO alien report or whatever. And sometimes, because of the locations, I mean, we've travelled up and down the country, don't get me wrong. And we've been, sort of like not only UFOs crop circling, big cats, Bigfoots and stuff. Not as many, don't get me wrong. I'm not talking about hundreds. You know what I mean? I'm talking about a few. You know what I mean? And big cats as well. But thousands, yeah, UFOs and what have you. So they're a bit of a mixed bag, but not as some of these people that are claiming. And I mean, we had a reporting centre. We had a car. We used to have a telephone number on the side. We had a mobile. And that's another thing. Some of the carryings on when one of the team were with us, his mobile went off and says, oh, yeah, I've seen you, like in paper on telly. It's Russ Kelly. And so, and there's 4 people in the car and said, oh, really? He said, well, that's strange. He said, because I'm sat in a car next to Russ Kelly driving. And he went, hung up. These are the strange things that happen. And, things like that happen and used to. As soon as you're in the paper or on television or whatever, you get this happening. So we're going around and we sort of like looking, sort of like at people's reports, and sometimes they'd had footage, sometimes they'd had photographic evidence. Wow. Some of the stunts what people have pulled. Yeah.
Right.
With photographic evidence. And what happened, you're just laughable with a negative and say, oh, we put it up to light and it got a bit too hot and it shriveled it, negative. Yeah, like that happens.
Right.
You must have been touching the light must have been, 300-watt light, and you must have been touching the damn thing. You know what I'm saying? How
Right.
stupid do you think we are? You know what I mean? And then there was some more, and you can see that somebody had been on computer, and like, we won at computer packages, one at paint shop. Yeah, I won't mention, but you know what I'm saying. A certain package what you get to alter things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then sort of like people talking about being abducted, and then you can see them looking at each other like this. And I says, sort of, when you start and you're getting to know, I think I saw Pink Fairy as well, where you're talking about at the same place, didn't I? You know what I mean? Same night you were there. I must have been there. I think there was some Pink Fairies dancing around as well.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? I think they got the message, you know what I mean? Sort of like, yeah, in other words, yeah, of course I was. You know what I'm saying? So you're getting all this, you're getting all this collaboration with people that are talking about they've seen something, they've got evidence and what have you, or there's multiple witnesses, and she were there as well, weren't you? And there's a poor lass there, yeah, and you can tell she didn't want anything to do with the nonsense. You know what I mean? You could tell, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my God. This is terrible, sort of like, and this is, like when you're starting out, you know what I mean? Sort of like, and all as I can say is, this is like 30 years later, and nothing seems to have changed. There seem to be some crazy people out there, and it's really terrible for the ones that are genuine. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like that's the problem. It really tarnishes everybody with the same brush. Now it's like they were saying, oh well, like you must be crazy. Really? Yeah. Well, I've got an FAC. Right, yeah. I'm trained. Right, yeah. You know what an FAC is? Do you call it the same in America?
We call it FCC. I don't know what you're calling it.
Firearm certificate.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have to have those. We have a concealed carry permit, but
Yeah.
we have an open state carry, so.
Right. So the thing is, and I've been trained and I've been licensed, if you can call it licensing, you know what I mean? Sort of like, but to licensing, freedom, that's what we need in every country. But the thing is, I was trained and I've shot from pistols, black powder, pistols to 308s, 50 cals, you know what I mean? And so, I'm saying, you think I'm crazy? And I've had a license to carry firearms until last year when I give me a license up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that means that I must have been trusted, right, for 30 years. All this time, I've been sort of like a nutter who's seeing aliens. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But yet there's people around there that so if you read and all the things what they're doing, they should look at people that are supposed to be sane. You know what I mean? So it makes me laugh. It's sort of like when people look at people and they try to be clever and so you're the nutter that sees UFOs and aliens. It's like I'm there talking and I'm talking about seeing a craft, an amazing craft, and me and my friend, we both saw it, right? Yeah. And I'm looking at him because I've got some new technology in car, right? Yeah. It was in the form of the what do you call it? What do you call it now for sat nav and what have you? It was similar to a sat nav, and it could. And I'm saying, there's 9 satellites above, telling him, sort of like, and I went to tell him, and I could see by his face, he'd seen it. because Ed were round the corner, binoculars, right? And I'm thinking, I think I told you this before, he's got binoculars, and I'm thinking to myself, he's got a better camera than mine. It's got double the zoom, not digital zoom, optical zoom. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, what the? But while I'm thinking this, I'm getting my camera out, I'm filming. Now, one of the first ever, I'll never forget it, talks that I went to. And I knew straight away, because someone said, "Oh, we're going to cause some trouble at your talk." Really? You know what I mean? Strange people. So I'm there with a friend who's been filming some good stuff as well. And I'm talking, and this bloke says, I'm showing the film. It's an amazing film, close up. Right, yeah? And it is daytime. And it's an object. We've both seen it go overhead to start off with. Going home, I had 2 hours missing time. Right, that's for later on. So the thing is, right, yeah, and this is strange. So I'm talking and showing this footage, and there's people going, wow. I don't know, lads stand up and he said, "Oh, wouldn't you have been better with binoculars?" And I looked at it, and I said, "Well, my friend had binoculars, but he'd got a better camera than me. Personally, I wish I'd have had his camera, right? Because it was better zoom and everything than mine. It cost about an extra £400 on top of what I paid for mine, you know what I mean? So I'm thinking to myself, is this guy, is he for real? Is he joking? Because the whole idea was to bring you evidence, right, yeah? To the talk, not to sit there and talk about, actually give evidence of what you're looking at, and you decide. So I'd said that, well, all as I'd said, well, you're seeing what I saw. If I'd have used me binoculars, you wouldn't have seen it. And this nasty thing stood up and goes, "Oh, I think you're very, very, very nasty and very rude saying that." And I looked at it and I thought to myself, what's nasty about saying, if I hadn't videoed it, you wouldn't be looking at it? So obviously there's something wrong with somebody. And to stand up, and I'm thinking, is it a double act? You know what I mean? Is there a double act going on? Because that isn't the norm, is it?
No, it's not.
That ain't the norm. And somebody's brought you footage to see, and it's not clear. I said, it is clear. Oh, but it's not. But it is clear. Well, when you zoom into anything, and it's in focus when you start zooming in, it goes out of focus. It's a little bit like when you take a photograph, right? Yeah. If you're taking a photograph of something close to you, right, the background should be out of focus, right? If it isn't, there's a problem. If you're taking a photograph of something that's focused from a distance, and the front is clear and the back is, so that, in other words, the foreground, the background, and what you're looking at the front, if it's clear, you've got a problem. Because when you're taking photographs, it doesn't work like that. There's got to be something out of focus.
Right.
You see, so you take a photograph of a certain object at a distance, and fixed cameras a little bit different, but I'm talking about, like when you're using video cameras and normal cameras, when you're zooming in and you're taking a photograph, right? Yeah, that's what happens. You have either the subject clear, the background not, or the background clear, the subject not. And it's never different. When it is different, that means it's been played about with. Real life, yeah, sorry. You know, I'd be better off putting my specs on, wouldn't I? This is real life, that's right. Yeah, my friend, it is. Didn't see you there, sorry. Ufology it is talking there. So, hang on, where am I? There we are. You'll have to, I'm terrible with it. Technology, as you know, I'm terrible with. So the thing is, like I say, you know, it's not being funny with anybody, but it does make you wonder, why are people going to, and it's apparently it's not only in the UFO subject, you know, it's not only, it's in all paranormal. And I say all paranormal because UFO is paranormal. If you read what paranormal means, it's not the norm. That's all paranormal means, outside the norm of science, the parameters of science, right? Yeah. Can't get anything more outside than UFOs. Bigfoots, ghosts, all the same. And this is why I usually say, you know, paranormal and leave it at that. But you'd be surprised how many people pick you up on it. You know what I mean? Sort of like, and start being a little bit silly and clever again. You know, sort of like saying that. I don't know why. But anyway, the point is, and this is the point, you know, so you're out there filming and you're trying to show people, and you get these, you know, sometimes it makes you wonder, why is it worth bothering? You know what I mean? Sometimes you think, is it really worth bothering? And the problem is, like you said, you'll know this yourself. If you've got an injury, you've had an injury, an illness, and you're going out, and especially if you know, if you've got pain and it's cold and it's raining and what have you, you don't feel like being there. But we do it, don't we? You know what I mean? And I mean, like going around all day taking camera footage down, you know, so it's like not an easy task, is it?
No.
You know what I mean? It's a job in itself. Yeah, I'd I'd be getting somebody to go on, getting it down.
Yeah.
I'm getting terrible. Can you go? Can you get that? Oh, that bring it to me. You know what I mean? I'm going to start being like that because it ain't working. You can be nice to people and it don't work. I'm going to have to start being right. Go get. You want to be in a group? Go. That's another thing. Groups. It's like someone said. There's always people want to be the captain of the ship, and they'll try taking over your ship. Right? Yeah. And when they take over and become the captain, they don't know how to run it, and it sinks.
Right.
Oh dear. But anyway, so yeah, so it's a case of, you know, going out and taking video footage, meeting people, and coming across some very strange people. You know, and some of these people, I don't know. You know, sort of like it makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder just why they are involved. You know what I mean? Because clearly, when I you know sort of like met people, I do not know why they're involved. You know, and some people I just don't think they'll ever see anything. You know what I mean? As long as they've got whiskers on the chin, they'll never see, and that's women as well. They'll never see anything. You know what I mean? And that is a big problem. I think this is a big problem. I think there's a lot of people that they're so annoyed that people are seeing things and they're not. that they've got to attack us. You know, they've got to attack us. Because, and especially if you start seeing more than one thing, then it's a case of, oh dear. You know, sort of like when that happens, it's like bad news. You know, sort of like, because then there's more and more jump on the bandwagon wanting to attack you. But the best way to solve it is just keep on doing what you're doing. So the footage that I told you I was supposed to be getting ready, and as you know about the problems what I've had, but what I will say is, with what you've seen, I should have it all ready, hopefully, for Monday night.
Yeah.
So we're talking about things that happen that are being caught on camera. And one of the things, you know, we're looking at the flying man. Now, I've got a few people wanting to use the flying man. I know that somebody looked at it, and what I will say is this, personally, and this is to people, get people saying that they can check videos out, they can check photographs out, they can check metals out, right? Yeah. I would not trust anybody, right? Yeah. With like someone was saying, oh, you've got a piece of metal. You've seen a picture of me holding a piece of metal. You might have seen me wearing it around my neck from one at Landed Craft. And my so-and-so, he works so-and-so, and he can get it checked for you. Good for you, because he's not checking the metal what I've got. And metals that I've got from crashes. You can be sure of that. It ain't going to happen now. I was reluctant before, years ago, and now, wake up call, no chance. Right, yeah? No chance. Photographic evidence as well, and video footage. You know, I'm not really interested in what people have to say. And I'm not bothered what they've done, what they've passed, certificate-wise or whatever, who they've worked for. Right, yeah? If I know I've seen something and I've been there, that's the slight difference, though. When you're there and you're filming something, it's a different matter altogether. Right? You know, like when you're filming something, different matter if you've been there and you've seen it, because you know. I know you can be, people say, oh, well, you know, there is a chance of anybody. And they say anybody, and we're talking about the police and military. Well, that goes for police and military. It goes for anybody. Right, yeah? And it's saying about, we all have different memories, and some people remember things different. Yeah, it's true. And that applies with police. It applies with military. And it applies with everybody else. And people have got to think about, when they start coming out with these claims, they've got to start thinking, are the rest of the people so perfect and supermen? No, because we're all the same. So if I can be mistaken, the rest can. That means pilots, police, military, the whole job lot. So people have got to think about this, right? When you've got some footage and you're talking about it and people are appraising it, and all of a sudden somebody goes and talks to them who seems to have been talking behind your back for quite some time, and all of a sudden when you go back a few weeks later and you find out, what's this person been doing there? And then all of a sudden they're starting talking about your footage. Oh, well, it could be. Well, like what you said last, oh, well, have you done it? Oh, well, I analysed it. But you've just said it could be. So you've had all this time to look at it, and you haven't. But you're sort of like coming and out now. Alarm bells start ringing. So now I trust no one. Before I trust, I would, oh, well, now, no chance. I trust no one. Now, more than ever, right? Wake up call. So I'm looking at some other footage, right? Yeah. And I'm looking at a ball of light and it's moving. All of a sudden, when I let my friend use the camera, I'm looking, I'm thinking, there's something going on here. I said, give us camera a minute, Keith. Put it, as soon as I put it back up to my eye, something shoots down. Now I've had people saying, you can hear a click, your night vision's come on. Really? Well, that's funny, because if you have a look, I'm filming in night vision. Oh, well, your night vision must have gone off. Well, that's funny again, because it's still filming in night vision. So it hasn't gone on. It's neither gone on or gone off. It was on and it stayed on. So what you get is, I think it's 60 frames per second and what have you. And you get something like 8 balls of light. That's all you get coming down, right? Yeah. And I'm at the other side, other end of that camera, remember? So you've got a flash. But when you slow that camera down, right, yeah, and you go into slow motion, right, yeah, you've got to do it using a package, actually. You can't just do it normal slow motion on the camera. You've got to put it to your computer, and then we'll use one of the edit systems. So what you've got is 8 photos of something, a ball coming down and coming up. So it's coming down and coming up to the camera, right? So obviously, I've tried everything. You've caught a reflector with your camera. Now, if you catch a reflector and go and film, you will not get the same thing coming down. You know what I mean? In fact, it don't really work. Like they say, oh, you know, if you get tried everything. I've tried everything to copy.
Right.
Doesn't work, right? Yeah. So anyway, that's another piece of footage. It's amazing, and I send you some pictures of that.
You sent me some. It was pretty interesting.
I think that was that's the CCTV footage. Now, I was just talking about this to you a few weeks ago, and I was talking to somebody else and saying about spiders. You got to be careful, spiders, web spiders, and oh no. And I'm saying they can come and go like that, right? No. Okay then. So when I go out now, when I'm filming, and Pete and my sister going out and looking at washing outside and on this little rail sort of thing, but she's looking to, what is that doing there, hanging up? And I says, and it's like a mop, right? Yeah, with a bag round it, so to keep it, you know, the end dry. So when I go out, I take the mop, this plastic off the head, and it's a telescopic mop sort of thing. It pulls out to 10 foot, so I can just about reach on a good day and wipe and make sure there's nothing around, not only over the lens, there's nothing hanging down, protruding around, over, or anything. Right? So these are the things, because spiders will come. You will get spiders and they will come back and they will take the web and, you know, use it again and stuff. That chap we're talking, and if you remember, and I was quite taken back what he was saying, because like he says, there's a slight difference that there's people that go out and do this, you know, and film, and those that talk about it. I don't particularly like this way of filming, because to me it's lazy way of filming. I'm not getting out, I'm not there, and you know, it's problem is when you've got an illness, when you become poorly and what have you, you know, sometimes you got to make the best of things, haven't you?
Right. That's true.
You know, so this is the best I can do, you know, until until things happen, with a bit of luck anyway. So we're looking at other footage. Now, I can honestly say I know that every piece of my footage, like the one where there's an helicopter over the house, and it's looking, this is 20 odd years ago, 22 years ago, 23. And they were looking for cars, you know, being stolen. And you can see a ball of light in the garden. And the ball of light then goes up behind the house and goes up underneath the helicopter, above the helicopter, and then it shoots off. Well, it doesn't shoot off, it meanders off. That ball of light were in my garden.
Huh.
Right? Now there's another video somewhere. Either, and it's a case of we've got again balls of light. Hi there, mate. We've got balls of light in the garden going up and sort of like looking around the police helicopter and taking off. It's very, very bad. It's dark. You can see it. You know what I mean? But one of my friends, he said I can sort it out and get it, because he knows a bit more than me with like editing and what have you. Then we've got something a little bit strange. I was filming the moon, right? And all of a sudden, two lines come down at an angle, or you know, on the moon, from top to bottom, all the way down. Right?
Interesting.
Now the thing is, again, this is what I had told to me. Right. Well, don't worry. All that is vapor trails in the sky. Vapor trails, yeah. Aeroplane vapor trails in the sky. And because it's high up and there's a moon, and it's in between you and the moon, and it's causing a reflection on the moon. Right?
I don't get it.
So we've got vapor trails at night and the moon, and the vapor trails are causing these lines to come down on the moon from top to bottom at an angle of the moon. Vapor trails.
I look at the moon a lot. I don't see vapor trails.
And the thing is, it moved. Right, say this screen from top to bottom is the moon. This is how fast it moved, right? Yeah, when it started. Now, vapor trails, when they're in the air, they don't move. They're just there, out there. They're stood.
Right.
So for them to be moving down, it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
So, these are the actual videos. What I was when we discussed last week, and I said, "Were I wrong? I should have them ready." You know, sort of like for next week. Why was I wrong? So then a friend of mine used to go out, and it was like we started going out and we wanting to catch more and more. It becomes like a drug. Oh, I'm going out, and oh well, I'm going out. I mean, it's like, who can film best things? Who can? So he films a flying saucer, right? Yeah, and he films it, and it comes on its side, and then it goes back, and then it looks like a line comes down. Now people are saying, "Oh, it were a tether." I want a tether because you'd have seen it when it moved. You'd have seen the tether going down, and then it'd have been flat that way when it was across. If you see what I mean. In other
Right.
words, it'd move, wouldn't it? It'd move, be like a T. It'd be down when it was moving like that, and when the saucer went back, it'd be still down, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? It'd be so anyway. We're sort of like looking at these things and filming, and then we're looking at things, and there's things landing now where we are. There's things coming out of the sea when we're filming, right? Yeah. So I'm filming two little well, I'm filming one ball of light at first in the sea, and then it becomes two, and then it becomes six, and then all of a sudden it's getting bigger and it starts coming out of the sea. Two flying triangles. So we've got all this lot, like evidence. It's at night time, but we've got daytime footage as well. But the thing is, at the end of the day, these are not little pinpricks. These are not things that have, somebody could blow up. And I've been told the more you blow up and what have you, and, sort of like you can get discrepancies when you're filming. Like when you've got a camera, sort of like with pixels on phones and stuff. And it's, sort of like there's lots of things it could be, glitches and stuff. You know what I mean? And what I was told, and I'll never forget it, and this is going back when I first started. If you can't see it on your actual camera, don't worry about it. Don't bother filming it. But this is back when we were filming with normal cameras. This is like, we're not talking about, sort of like cameras, electronic cameras. You know what I mean? And like phones, we're talking about proper cameras.
Right. Makes a difference.
It makes a heck of a difference. I mean, I used to have a camera, like men that were filming back then, and they knew how enthusiastic I was. And he used to give us rolls of film, good film for my camera, when they were out filming. You know what I mean? Here, you know what I mean? You're always, like giving us good footage and stuff. So I had a pretty good, what do you call it, repertoire with the media, sort of like with, not only the journalists, the reporters, but the cameramen as well. You know what I mean? Because they were telling me some stories, but like they used to say, I can tell you this, but you can't, sort of like disclose who I am. Well, I'd never do that. I'd never do that.
Right.
And telling you stories about what had happened to what they'd seen, what people that you knew, or even their family that have seen. You know what I mean? But like one chap said in a big newspaper, and I spoke to him. I know, and I rung him up, and he goes, Russ, before you start, I totally agree with you. I know what you're going to say. He says, just remember, I've got 2 kids and I've got a mortgage. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he says, I don't want anything to do covering this now. You know what I mean? He don't want to, he don't want to bother covering stories of like UFOs. He said, because he says, You know, like I were always all right with him. I even when I rung him up and I'd said, "Oh, well, that was good." You know what I mean? Oh, Russ, he says, just remember, mate, he says, you know, I've got 2 kids. He says, I'm married. And I gives it, and I'm the fool. He gives it, shut up. He says, seriously. You know, he says, honestly, Russ, he said, it's not simple, you know. You know, I said, yeah, but sometimes the way you come across, you know, like when you're writing stuff as well, allegedly, there's nothing allegedly about it. If you can't see that, there's something wrong. Why say, I wish you'd say allegedly. When they're talking to these politicians, I wish you'd pull them up and say, oh, yeah, allegedly. You know what I mean?
Right.
I have done on TV, and the faces of these people. You know what I mean? Yeah, allegedly. Yeah. So, wait a minute. I was just watching. You know, I'd come on after. So, has he gone? Bring him back. I want to ask him something. Allegedly. You know what I mean? They're going to do this. They're going to do that. You know, allegedly. Yeah, allegedly. You know, I said, don't say when we're talking allegedly when you've got them. You let that. I said, I wish you'd grill them. You know, politicians like you grill us. I tell you what, let me sit in your seat and I'll do the grill. I'll do the, you know.
Right.
But that's another thing. When I went on a show, and it was coast to coast, and the guy, the boss wasn't on, and he had this clown, this joker, interviewed me. We were on 4 hours, and we were going over and over the same about this lad who I'd give him information about this famous landing. I'd worked on this famous story, you know what I mean, this case. And then he's got this book out and he's asking me all these questions about my abduction. I said, but it's about Berwyn Mountains. So he's grilling me about being abducted. And, oh, well, you can get windburn on your face. I've still got it, mate. I've still got it now. You know, sort of like over 30 years, clown. You know what I mean? Sort of like the marks are not going. They're still there. You know what I mean? Windburn, yeah.
Right.
I've drove, you know, like road choppers and racing bikes and all sorts. And, yeah. And have you ever had, oh, yeah, he's got a bike. Yeah, well, funnily enough, I were a biker for a long time. I had scooters before that. You know what I mean? And he's talking about windburn. You know what I mean? I was tempted to say what you were on. It wouldn't have gone fast enough anyway to get windburn. You know what I mean? I won a Kawasaki, you know what I mean? Sort of like, I know what windburn is, you know what I mean? I know what speed is. You know what I'm saying? Sort of like,
right.
I'd have left you, you know, long ways back. You know what I mean? But, you know, but the thing is, it's like when you're interviewing people, you know, sort of like, you know, it's like I'll never forget that. I spoke to him like about a year ago, and I told him what I thought of him. And he said, oh, you'll have to come on, I've got a show now. And I said, yeah. I said, how have you got a show? How have you know what I mean? You've got a show. I said, there's a chance for anybody. Knowing that you've got a show, and you've got a show looking for ghosts now, that gives me, right, yeah, that's good for me, and it's good for everybody else, because if you can do it, anybody can. You know what I mean? If he can do it, anybody can. You know, sort of like, having said that, I'm more interested in getting out and filming. You know what I'm saying? I'm more interested in getting out and filming, like yourself, and putting these cameras up. Which, again, coming back to the cameras, wow. Now, I told you about being, you know, about the telepathic part and about things starting up last week. Remember I told you, you know, things have started. I was looking at you and I was feeling something, right? Yeah. When we were looking, when you said to me that, now giving it, you know what it is. You know what it is, but you don't want to say.
Yeah, did I tell you my doctor called me out on one of my shows?
No.
Yeah, she was like, Dad, you
Really?
withheld evidence. I watched your show. I am not going in the woods anymore.
Right.
She said, I'm not.
Yeah. Well, up with you.
She says, I'm not going out in those woods. Not after seeing that.
Personally,
she's like, what is it? And I was like, I don't know.
I think personally, I mean, and I wasn't being flippant with anybody when they were ringing. Sort of like that. What I said was, and it was a statement. What I said was, sort of like Bigfoots are always big, bulky creatures. Yeah. And I've never known anybody, and I'm not I've been interested for a long time, but I'm a newbie. I'll admit this. I'm a newbie to Bigfoots and cryptozoology, right? As such, I have never come across anybody say about rib cages. You know what I mean? The only time I've heard about it, which I want to get somebody, because one couldn't talk about because he were doing something, and another guy I wanted to have him on the shot, and then I were poorly. Something. Oh God. Anyway, now he's seen something, and another chap that I know has, and they are a bit sort of like in that way, muscly, but like a six pack. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yes.
And I'm thinking, when I'm looking at Grizzly, I'm thinking to myself, Grizzly's thinking, that's a dog, man. Yeah, I could feel this, or wolf, man. Now, the thing is, I know one's canine. Well, are wolves canine? I'm just trying to think, are the Grizzly?
They're supposed to be.
Same sort of like species, aren't they?
Yeah.
And it's only because of the inbreeding with dogs and stuff that they've changed, like got smaller and what have you. Which makes me wonder, some of these little dogs, what the hell have they had? What have they mated? You know what I mean? I'm thinking to myself.
Right.
Just how it must be how mine's working. I'm just thinking, well, if it, you know what I mean, where's that come from? You know what I mean? It's like strange, but anyway, don't get me started. But I'm thinking to myself, Grizzly is thinking, I can feel it. He's saying, it's a dog, man.
It's crazy, isn't it?
I think it's seriously. I think two things. I think that it's something, and something's got its hands around. If it's not, then I need to take a better look. But I mean, it's your stuff, you know what I mean? It's rude. But what I've had a look at, and sort of like I'm thinking to myself, there is a saying that a friend of mine turned around and says, "You're not meant to know." Remember that, Russ. You're not meant to know. So it's like aliens. And I said, yeah, but I do know. Don't say you're not meant to know. When I've been inside the craft, I've been inside the base. You know what I mean? It's like, don't say you're not meant to know, because I do know. Well, yes, I know, but, and what you don't know. You know what I mean? It's like crazy. But,
Yeah.
You need to speak to that chap again and see what he thinks, because I respect that guy. Like it was being out and filmed all sorts. Because the other thing I was going to say is we're using these cameras, and I want to, and I'll show when I get the cameras, when I get it working and get, next time, about what we've spoken about, sort of like there's like mist in the air, we've got other things happening, sort of like, and because of it being on night vision. But there's only one thing which I can't figure this out right, yeah, because I've got night vision and it has an infrared finder, right? Now, even if I hadn't, and these things, I went out with my camera and my phone, right, yeah, or my phone and my camera, I should say, and looking, and I was amazed not to be able to see what my camera, because I'm looking at the camera I'm looking at my camera as in from my phone, right, and looking up, and I've got my other video working, and I'm pointing it in the same place, and I am not seeing the same. So what I've done is I haven't zoomed in. I've just gone to just had it on fixed on my camera, so it's the same as the camera that's fixed up on the CCTV camera. And I did go in and out, zoom in and out, and I was messing about, and I was so taken back. What did I do? Drop the camera, smash the screen. But the whole point is, why wasn't I seeing the same with the Sony Handycam than I was the CCTV camera?
Right.
You see what I mean? I should, theoretically speaking, right, yeah, have been able to see the same with the camera, with the Handycam, as the fixed camera that I was looking at, which the image comes up on my phone because it's on the app, right, yeah?
Right.
So why is that? Now, that's something I wanted to ask the chap that were on your show. How comes then, what I'm seeing isn't through, I'm looking at the same area because I'm matching it with my camera. So I'm matching up like that, messing about to get it exactly where it is. That's when I drop my camera. So I should have been able to see exactly the things should have been there flying around at the same rate at the same time. So I'm thinking to myself, right, okay. If I've left it on that rate, what it's at, I can always change it on my settings on the CCTV camera. Now, so the other thing is just to leave it as it is, and then just put me Handycam, right, yeah, out there on a tripod and leave it filming. You know what I mean? I can put it on slow motion, or I can put it on normal speed. So I get double, but now with SD cards, it don't matter, you know what I mean? And I've got an extended battery which lasts 6 hours. Do you see? So I got a special battery pack which is like 3 times bigger than the normal battery that goes in. So it sticks out like that. It sticks out about 2 inches, 3 inches from the camera to the norm. Just because of the power, like for staying out, for hours, which is good for ghost hunting as well.
Yeah.
Because if you put, trouble is, they're pretty expensive. It's like saving up for one. It's like the same price as free, you know what I mean? But at least you've got that power then, haven't you, for going out?
Right. That's
So
true.
that's the next thing, sort of like I've got the tripod, and everything to just put it up there. But the problem is, if I'd have put anything up last night, what a carry on we had last night with the weather here. I thought my wind had come through. You know what I mean? With me, two of the, what do you call it, stripped off my bike, and the carabiner was smacking the window. Bang, bang, bang. And I won't care. I moved my bike out of the way, closer to the alley. You know what I mean? So that was lucky that he didn't put the window through last night. So anyway, 20 minutes trying to get everything put back last night. But the thing is, if I'd have been doing that last night, there's no way that any camera on a tripod would have been standing or anything. It blew my trees over. I've got palm trees in big dustbins.
Yeah.
They were over. You know what I mean? Sort of thing. So that's how bad it was last night. So the thing is, I've had a call from, I was telling you about the chap. And so we're getting ready, and we're going looking for a landed craft. So we're going for actually 3 landed crafts.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
So he's got his metal detector. I've been looking at a new thing. Is when the thing is, it's like I said, like buying stuff and going out, you've got to use them, because it's a waste of money just to going on a one-off. You know what I mean? Because the thing is, I'm not, sort of like, I'm getting dropped off. You know what I mean? At the point, you know what I mean? We've got a rendezvous point, you know what I mean? Sort of like, because I ain't walking, I can't walk. Sort of like, so we're looking at, the area, getting dropped off and then getting picked up later on. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I am crippled, I just cannot walk. So it's not good, mate, is it? You know what I mean? It's like not good.
No, totally understand.
And sort of like, it's like my sister says, what happens if you take poorly? She said, you're poorly now. You know what I mean? What happens, like if you take poorly? She said, because it's probably not going to be if, it's when. So I'm thinking, oh dear, she shouldn't have said that, really. You know what I mean? I'm thinking, oh.
Right.
So the thing is, we'll have to see. It is what it is. We'll have to see. Sort of like, and see how it goes. But the main thing is, as well, like, for everybody, like I was saying, everybody's talking about, we've got all these sightings and these reports coming in. But yet, where's the footage?
True.
And people saying, oh, yeah, we've got all these cameras and there's no footage. We've got, like mobile phones and what have you. And it's like, now, who do I report to? If I see something, who do I report it to? The government aren't going to say anything. Let's be honest about it. You know what I mean? Government don't want to know. Military, you know what I mean?
Right.
Don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, nah. So now we're the ones, and there's more than me. So look at all the people that have been filming all this time and go, you know what? We don't even bother anymore. You know what I mean? We don't even bother anymore. So what if we film something, we see something. What are we going to call?
Right.
Ghostbusters.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm like, there's nobody to call. And again, you know, like I was saying, you know, there's a certain program and they're there talking, and all of a sudden one of them comes out with, oh, and by the way, you do realise that when I joined you, I joined another group and I was sworn to secrecy. And I can tell you now that I've been working with another group, but I can't tell you what I've been told. That's secrecy. That's it. Get him off. We're not interested. You know what I mean? What's the point in being on a show? And you know what I mean? Oh yeah, I've been doing this. You know me. I've got the my credentials are like this, and theirs are as well supposed to be, and he can't tell them what he's being told.
Right.
So what's the point in having a program on when nobody can tell the truth? Does that, you know what I mean? Can you understand that, Grizzly? You know what I mean? It's like, if he can't turn around and say, you know what I mean? What's the point?
That's true.
No point in watching these now. You know, it's like there's no point in watching these programs. You know, it's like I was saying, and a lot of people now. I says to you a long time ago, the way forward is to do it yourself, to film yourself, do your podcast, do your shows. Some of, you know, they call them podcasts and this, that, and the better than I'm watching. The other night, right, yeah, I put the show on YouTube, right, yeah, on my telly because I got YouTube on telly. So I'm watching. My sister says, it's on telly. I says, yeah, YouTube. I said, why do you think all these companies now, the media companies, production companies, they're all clamoring about trying to do the same because they know that people don't want to pay money for licenses, for one thing, and they know that people aren't watching as much telly. You sat watching the same old 80 channels of bilge. 80 channels, right? You're clicking on, you get to about 60, 70 channels and you're thinking, I start going back and I'm watching stuff from 60s.
Right.
Horror films. If I'm not watching shows on YouTube, right, yeah, the next thing is like all the creature from the Blue Lagoon and stuff, you know what I mean? And all mummies and, you know, I'm watching stuff like that because the new stuff, spending millions on acting and all this lot, and sort of like I'm thinking to myself, I'm back and I'm watching the old stuff. But yeah, now there's you know, like everybody's wanting to do stuff, and what they're wanting to do is do what we're doing. You know, sort of like from when I was filming and doing a show with YouTube 15 years ago, but I couldn't be bothered. You know what I mean? I sort of like, I wanted to be getting out more, but you know, sort of like when you become ill, you just, it's the best thing to do. You just sit back and just, but like I say, you know, when you're eager to get out, you know what I mean? You're eager to get out with your camera and what have you. So I know what it's like for you when you put the stuff up. You know, like the new. How did it go? Have you put anything new up?
Yeah, I put 5 more out.
Wow. Did you find the other 2?
No, that's I went out there for hours looking for them. I'm gonna go back out with the GPS. I think they're gone. So.
Wow.
Yep.
Now, how does that not surprise me?
Yeah.
Are you surprised?
Yeah, but no. After seeing the pictures, because usually they say they're ripped off trees. So
What you need to do is you need when you go back, you need to just have. Do you know how much they cost, by the way?
these weren't real bad. So so I'm not out of pocket too bad. So
You're talking to somebody who's been doing this for. You're out of pocket, mate.
yeah,
You
but
lose one, you're out of pocket. It's as simple as that. And
I
even the
mean, it still
cheapest aren't
hurts.
cheap.
I mean, I'm out of the SD cards, the batteries, and the
Yeah,
camera.
yeah.
But it's still
If it
awful.
costs,
But I'm gonna go back out with the GPS and make sure. But yeah, it doesn't look good.
you need to take what do you call it with a baseball back in his kilt.
Yeah, right.
You need to take him and take him with you. He'll sort them out.
Yeah,
Oh dear, I don't know, but yeah, it does make you wonder. You know what I mean? Sort of like, well, something there watching,
yeah.
definitely. But I think I did say something's watching you. Definitely, there's no doubt about it. But I can't wait to see the next lot.
Oh, I can't either.
So how long how long are you going to leave it? Another 3-4 weeks or so?
Yeah, about 3.5 weeks.
So are you going to put the rest of the others up once are you overhauling them and everything?
Yeah, I'm gonna try to. Yeah,
Any damaged?
none, just two missing.
Well, that's a bonus, isn't it? You know what I mean? That's a bonus. But
Yep.
well, with a little bit of luck, like I say, getting this lot sorted out, and I want to start actually showing the footage and what have you.
Right.
And, some photographs because sort of like before I've been tied in with a contract, and the problem is, it's like it's not your own. It's like it's not your own footage and stuff, and your story and your photographs. So you're tied in for a year, and sort of like you can't use what. So it's like it's all right being in paper one day and what have you, but like you've got a year where you're stuck, and especially when people are wanting to see the stuff. Sort of like, and then I've got to ask permission for them. You know what I mean? Actually no, I've got to ask permission to talk to them, and they need to talk to them first. And it's my footage, it's my story. You know what I mean?
Right.
Sort of like, so I'm just thinking the other day. You know what? Somebody told me. Somebody said a couple of year ago. So you know what? It's not your own. It's not worth it. You know what I mean? It's like not worth it. And I'm thinking, you know what? You might have been a smart cookie there. You know.
Well, could
So
be.
so anyway, listen. I'm sorry I was a little bit late tonight and what have you, and getting sorted out. And obviously, there's problems at my end with things at the moment until I get them sorted out. And then, like I say, once I've got all this lot sorted out, and I've got some 2 or 3 people I think would be good to have on the show as well. Like and
Awesome.
about the experiences, also. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But anyway, it's been a great show again. I hope everybody's liked it, it's listened. We couldn't advertise as such as good, and mine's terrible when I do stuff. I tell you, I don't know why I bother sometimes. But thank you very much for everybody that's watched, and hopefully we're going to be looking at some images and other people talking as well. But like I say, that is a truth, you know, like there's very strange when you're in groups and sort of like what I've had to put up with over the years, and very odd how people act in subjects and what have you. So the best thing to do now, like I say, I like to get away now and, you know, like not going on groups and what have you. And not that some lovely people, don't get me wrong, but I can't be bothered getting into arguments with other people because it looks bad. I just like to get on it and do my show and send people stuff if you've got and they want to show stuff, fair enough. But getting embroiled in arguments and stuff, and it's not for me. I want to get out there and like Grizzly, getting some evidence and showing stuff and, you know, making the difference, because believe me, that has been, I'm still thinking, mate, what the hell is it?
Right.
Is it a, what do you call it, a torso? Is it, you know, the rib cage? I'm still thinking.
Yeah, it's questionable.
You know what I mean? But there's one thing, if it is, it's not a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Which is a worry. And I know why. And I think she's right, what she said, you know, that doctor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes, mate, does that?
Sure does.
It really does. So on that bombshell where you're not going to be carried taken away by your doctors, but I might be, I will say good night, God bless to everybody, and thanks for watching again. And take care, mate, and I'll chat to you later. And I'll be watching tomorrow your show as usual, and see what happens, and look forward, like I say. And now I'm watching you on TV.
It's awesome.
All right, mate. Bye, everybody, and good night. God bless, and thanks for watching, everybody.